know that on the whole, the records of the government speak for themselves. You have seen the developments we have in Singapore over the last years, or even in the last 10 years for that matter. And considering the resources that we have, the size of our country, the limited manpower that we have, and competition with the countries with more than what we have, I think we have done pretty well. And as far as our people are concerned, I think they have also progressed. Looking at the education system, for example, it is one of the best, as you can see in the results shown by the international tests. Our students do very well. And even when it comes to getting access to tertiary education, post-secondary education, there are many opportunities now, many pathways now for students to go into different streams, whether it's the ITE, whether it's polytechnic, whether it's university, whether it's overseas, or whether it is just a skills course for them to enhance whatever skills they have. So there are many opportunities available to our young people to move up their social ladder and do better for themselves and for the family. And if you look at the facilities that we have, we do spend a lot of money on facilities. That's why you see upgrading everywhere. Even here in the local level, you see upgrading practically all the time. These are useful measures that will improve the living environment of the country. But when it comes to a more general point about sharing with our people the concerns, the difficulties, the challenges we face, this government has never shied away from it. Has never shied. From time to time, when we face a crisis, the government is always upfront saying, well, we have a problem, and this is the problem. This is what we are going to do. I just take one example, that of Jemaah Islamiyah, or the recovery of a terrorist cell in Singapore, which has its origin from other countries, Indonesia and Malaysia, and which has its presence in many other places such as Australia as well, and the Philippines. We did not just arrest 15 individuals in December of 2001. By January, we went out to tell Singaporeans that this is what we have discovered, this is what we have done to engage the Malay Muslim community, and this is what we're going to do next, and this is what we're going to put in place in the years ahead. So we bring people together, we tell them what we do, we get their cooperation. At the same time, we also enlist the help of the community so that they too can be on the lookout for terrorist operations or for people who want to do harm to us. There's only one example. In the case of SARS in 2003, after that, I was in charge because I was chairing the coordinating committee for the ministers. Now, it is not just a public health issue, because eventually the fear of the unknown, and people do not know whether they will get infected, who will get infected, where will the virus spread, completely no idea, and they were very worried. And that atmosphere of fear of the health, their own health, was very real. Now, it is not just a hospital, not just an MOH problem. It affects our schools, our students, the parents who need to send their children to school. It affects the workers who need to go to work. It affects the economy in our world. It affects the whole transportation system. So we came out, I had a meeting with the press, together with Open One and my other colleagues, and explained what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and we will take measures accordingly. So within a few months, when the virus is down, and all the measures in place, people took the precaution of washing their hands, keeping themselves clean, and including hawkers here who are helping out in taking temperatures of drug dealers, working hard on the ground. I think that's the way we have been communicating with the public. And this has been commented on by foreign analysts who said this is an open way of telling Singaporeans what Singapore is facing and how we are dealing with the problem. So we do not hide, we do not fear disclosing to the public the things we do. So as far as accountability is concerned, I think we do very well. just look at the ratings of assessment made by many well-known, reputable international organizations. They rate Singapore very highly in the case of the area of security, in the area of governance, in the area of education, and in the area of employment, and so on and so forth. If you look at the economy, we now have just slightly over 2.2% of unemployment, which in economic terms practically means full employment. Now, do people find difficulty getting jobs? Well, some may, because it depends on the skill set. Some may not like the particular job or the particular timing of the work. But actually, if Singaporeans want to work, there are jobs available, because after all, we do have many work permit holders and many other work permit holders. So I think on all these works, I would say that the government has done well for the people, and we will continue to do so. That's why we say this is our program for the next 5 years. We meant it. And when we say we meant it, it means we have actual measures, experience, track record to carry them out. So it is not something we just articulate during election. It's not something that we try to piece together in the last minute of the nomination day. You will see that many of these manifestos by other parties are almost last-minute compilation of issues or topics, and many of them are just general ideas and rhetoric. But really, when it comes to the nuts and bolts of it, I think voters want to know, well, this is what you say, how do I know that this is what you can do? And you may be able to do it, but where are your people to do this? That is the key question. So teams that are assembled in the last minute, they may not even know each other that well yet. Whereas for us, for the PAP, we have worked through this for years. From time to time, every term, we have new people joining us, and these new people will get onto the ground, learn the ropes, get the experience, and make the contribution to it. And that is how we have been carrying forward our work. People will inducted in, learn, and then carry on to the next step.
副总理，就是因为人民党他们有提出，就是说把那个公共交通以一种合作社的方式来经营，你觉得这个可行吗？
Tell me one country that has a successful model based on the cooperative public transport.
So just to clarify, like you said, it depends on the voters, to decide. But for you personally, do you think that you're optimistic that they will be able to, not let that have an impact? Because like for what STV manifesto, they say that, there's an opportune time for people to vote, to hold you accountable for what has happened and all that,
Yes, certainly it's an opportunity for the voters in Bishan-Toa Payoh to cast a vote for the party which they think can best represent them. They can best fulfill their aspirations and their wishes. I think that is the real test of every election. But the election is not about a game, it's not about soccer. It's not that you can play a game of soccer, then later on you can sit down, pat each other's back and have a glass of beer. No. Election is serious because it is about people's lives. It's about the future. So we must take election seriously, and we must take the whole process of electing the right kind of people into parliament seriously. So it's not a gamble at all.
So you think it will have little impact on like Mas Selamat and
so I think for Mas Selamat, some people will have some views. The question is whether they think that I have fully accounted for it. I believe I have, and if there are some more questions, certainly these can be raised. If there are areas which I have not done enough, well, tell us what they are, and we will study them, and if they are workable, certainly we will accept them. I'm not saying that we have all the answers to the problems that we face. No, not at all. I'm saying that, well, of all the particular problem, we have several ways of doing it. Finally, you decide which is the best way of doing it, and what is the cost of doing it, and what are the benefits that will come about at the end of doing all that. I think for whatever you do, there's always a trade-off. There's always a trade-off. We can put up Singapore to be a fortress. You can. Completely secure, nobody gets in and out. But how does it help us at all? It doesn't. You need to make a living, right? You need to trade. You need people to come in and out. Singaporeans also need to go in and out. And therefore you find ways to facilitate this. And when you facilitate this, there is a risk that you need to manage. And I think so far, we have managed well. And our officers on the ground have worked very hard. Until you sit down at a counter, or until you are right on the ground, walking, you don't really quite appreciate what it means to keep Singapore safe. Really. For those who have lived overseas, those who have studied overseas, I think they will know. When I meet Singaporeans overseas, one of the first things they tell me is that Singapore is so safe. They experience from their own environment in foreign countries how different is it from that of Singapore. And they tell me that I didn't solicit those views, but they have